yet. We don't want that one. We don't want that. We're just gonna do a sound check now. All right, now we're live. There we are.
Hey.
Check 2.
There's a delay.
Yes, there's a little delay. Good evening, guys. Welcome. This is Freddy, AJ,
What's up?
Mr. Willy. We're going to go live at 8 p.m. Eastern today. So we're going to give a few minutes so people can log in. Let us know if the volume is good, if you guys hear us out there. And, well, I could hear myself talking already, so I think we do have audio. So we're just going to allow a few people to come in. What's up, Jesse? How you doing, man? Audio good, Jesse? Type in yes or no there in the chat. We're watching. This is something that we do for the group, for the members of the group. Every now and then, Willy and I try to get together, come up with a few questions that we can think of, and also questions the members have in the group. And we try to, to the best of our ability, help everyone. But today is special because today we got this guy right here. All right, Mr. AJ Falcon. Yeah.
Everybody, thank you for your friendship and support. Thank you.
You know we do need the microphone, right? We're using the microphone, right?
Oh yeah. How about, is this thing on?
There you go.
Is there a charge if I drop the microphone?
Yeah, don't do the mic drop on me, man.
I told you the true story. One of the groomsmen tomahawked it to the floor.
Woo! Oh boy.
Yep. On a dare of $100 bet, he did it. He said all this on the microphone. I'm doing this because to win $100 bet, and
yeah, and then
and then
he lost 400.
500. 500. He had to pay a replimitation cost for the microphone.
There you go.
Yeah.
But
Minus is 100.
So yeah, maybe it's good. I think you have a clause in your contract about that, like no mic dropping.
Listen, I have a clause, but I would prefer them not I don't want to, go
force it. You don't want to enforce it.
Exactly. I like to have my
no, but in a case
now,
like that, it wasn't even a drop. It was like
a tomahawk. It was like a Brady touchdown.
I'm telling you, yeah, it was.
All right,
else.
guys, we have a few guys logged in. Welcome, guys. Hey, look who's on. DJ George Jet, man. He is on. I saw him doing some turntable terrorism on his
Mr.
turntables.
360.
Some old school booty music he was going on live. George, welcome, brother. Kevin, what's up, Kevin? Thank you for joining us. Kevin is always on there. We're just going to give a few more. We are going to allow a few more people. Guys, if you can, you will help us by sharing the link on your pages in the group as much as you can. Share it, and you will help us spread the DPR word to all those guys. Maybe it'll help someone out there, a DJ that's, has a few questions, and hopefully we could help them.
Yeah, like always, we appreciate all your feedback. Any question, no question is not important. Every question is valuable if you have a doubt in your mind. So don't be afraid. If we don't have the opportunity to address it here on this one, we'll do it on the next broadcast.
Yeah.
But we're here for you guys.
And we also have all the old broadcasts on our website. So if you don't know, our website is DJs, Producers, and Remixers.com. Look for our logo, thanks to our man, Rocco, who did this nice banner for us, Rocco. Rocco,
nice.
thank
nice
you,
round
man.
Applause for Rocco.
Hopefully he'll come in shortly, and he'll place a link to his company.
No relation to the Rocco's Modern Life cartoon. That was
No,
a little
no,
wallaby.
no.
I'm a
He
big
does.
fan of that
He does
cartoon.
excellent work, man. He does. All our banners in the DPR group, and he has offered us this as a gift. So Rocco, thanks, man. Thanks for everything that you do for us.
Appreciate it.
You've taken DPR to that next level that we needed to, with all the great logos that he has created for us. And these nice shirts. Come on, guys, $20, man. You could go to our website, DJs, Producers, and Remixers.com, and you can order your shirt. We'll be glad to send it to you. Before we get started, we also want to remind you on our website, okay, this Sunday, we're all going to be at Tropical Park, right? We're going to have dominoes. We're going to have kickball. We're going to have beer drinking, right?
food.
Who's gonna beat me this time?
Let's see.
Who's gonna beat me? I'm gonna take Walter. I'm gonna take Felix, and I'm gonna take you, man. I'm gonna drink those bottles.
The batting cage was a lot of fun too. They have the batting cage.
Oh, we had the batting cages.
Batting cage real close by.
You guys missed AJ. He struck out like 15 times. Okay, and they were pitching like 20 miles an hour. They were slow pitching him, and he was still striking out.
That's funny.
Just kidding,
funny.
man. Just kidding.
No, I know.
AJ's a big guy. You don't want to mess with AJ.
I was trying to get a group together to go over there all at once to the batting cage. But,
yeah. All right, guys. A few more minutes.
There was some other stuff other than beer too to drink. Thank you, Tom De Dios.
Hey, Anthony, what is up? DJ Crib, thank you for joining us, man. Thank you. A few more minutes, and we're going to begin today's broadcast. I want to thank my wife. She's our, creator of our studio. The DP. We could actually call this a DPR studio today.
Yeah,
it's really impressive. It's my first time here. The way you have this all set up.
We have a backdrop. We have a banner.
Lights.
We have some camera lights. I look like Don Francisco. On the thin version.
Como dice el público.
Chacal. No, let's come up with a DPR jingle. DPR me gusta a mí.
We're working on it. We're trying to get some artists to do some DPR jingles.
I miss Don Francisco. He was funny.
Anyway, thank you guys for joining, and I think we're about to start. Hey, my friend Guido, what is up, man? Thank you. First time, Guido. I hope we see you this Sunday, man, at the park, Tropical Park.
Welcome
It's
aboard.
a good time. It's definitely
all right?
a good time.
Definitely, guys. You guys are going to have a great time, and all your family is invited, okay? So come on down. We have a great time always. You can meet other DJs and their family, and, we have a great time. So I think we're about ready. We got 9. Hopefully, we're going to have some more as they come in. Bill James, what is up, man? Thank you for joining us.
What's up, Bill?
So I think we're ready to go, man. We have a few questions here that I think, is going to be useful to a few DJs out there.
Exactly. Well, to break the ice, we're going to start with one that I know that our buddy over here, Mr. AJ Falcon, actually had an actual experience this weekend. So it's not really the first question, but we're going to mention this one first. AJ, in your opinion, how early should I arrive at an event and why?
Well, how early should someone arrive? Because it varies by person, so it might be different for you, different for me. I like peace of mind. I like to work relaxed. I like to work 2 hours minimum early if it's a place I already know with a simple setup and it's not a long drive, 2 hours minimum. If it's a longer drive, more involved setup, add time to that. I would rather have 1 or 2 hours to relax because, number one, you're usually at a very scenic location, very peaceful, nice, a pleasure to be in, a place where people pay a lot of money to go to be. It's a resort, usually very scenic, very nice. So you get to relax, enjoy the scenery, feel the vibe, get something to eat because we know often they don't feed us. So get something to eat early. When they do feed us, it's kind of a ridiculous joke, like after 15, 20 minutes after they fed the last person, they'll give you something to eat, and you really can't. Yeah. That's what your crunch time for you, so you can't leave. So, see, I had made some notes here. So it also buys time, insurance. Anything could happen. It's not a question of if, but when. Sooner or later, something's going to happen. A flat tire, car problems,
Definitely.
Traffic accident up ahead.
Yes.
Traffic accident hopefully not involving you. We both know somebody that mutually happened to that maybe will remain nameless.
Here in Miami, we don't have traffic, right? What is that? What is that?
What is he talking about?
There's no traffic on the Palmetto, right?
Yep.
Or the turnpike.
So that's it. Like that's me. And then the other thing is like get to meet key people that are there. There might be planners to talk to. There might be banquet staff, a captain. Build up a little bit of rapport with them. Go over the game plan and get yourself like in a zone. I really believe every place has its own energy, its own vibe, whether it be a club, a venue, a ballroom. Every place has its own energy, and I like to just try to feel that before I work a gig. So if I get there early, it allows you even more time to soak up the energy of the place, feel the vibe, feel the...
Exactly. Now, for all the DJs out there, I would recommend the time that you take to set up your basic equipment. For instance, if I go with 2 speakers, facade, table, a controller, I should know how long does that take me to an average time does that take me to set up. So, for instance, if it takes me 45, 50 minutes to set up, I know with 2 hours, I'll have enough time. Usually, I have to also say about an hour in traffic, an hour and 15 minutes in traffic. So I more or less, I figure it takes me 45 minutes to set up. Okay, so that right there, I would add another hour and 15 minutes plus an hour and 15 minutes for traffic. So for me, for my basic setup, I would do 2 hours and a half. I'll try to get there 2 hours and a half. Before, if they tell me 8 o'clock, I'll try to be there by 5:30, 5:15. You know, if my wife hasn't sent me to take out the garbage or cut the grass or whatever, you know, I try to get there as early as I can, right? So, you know, that's just the way I am. I like to be early. Even if they tell me at 4, I like to be there, you know, at 3:30.
Don't forget,
you know,
South Beach and downtown
Exactly.
Miami. If they have a very complicated
Yes,
setup, load in,
especially.
sharing elevators with room
Exactly.
service and the laundry department and everything like that.
I'll give you an
have to allow
example.
more time.
What happened? I think I was representing you that day.
Yes.
That party down in Coconut Grove.
Yes.
I was doing a party for AJ in Coconut Grove. They only had one elevator, okay? And all the vendors, all the guests, and everything went up and down that elevator. But guess what? I was in the second floor. The vendors were in the first, in the basement down there, you know, in the garage. So the elevator would go all the way down, and every time the elevator came up to my floor, it was full. It was full. It was full. So it took me just 1 hour, only 1 hour, just to take my equipment upstairs. So luckily, it was that I went with enough time. So you always have to count, you know, with something going wrong that's going to delay your process, and you will never, ever be late. So the earlier you arrive to any gig, if possible, go as early as you can.
Add time if you're not familiar with the venue.
Exactly.
Because there's some wild cards that you just don't know until you get there, like the shared elevator. One elevator may be broken, the freight elevator.
Exactly.
And you have to use a passenger elevator.
And it doesn't even, I could go the day before, and I could see where everything is. But guess what? That Saturday, the day that you're going, okay, there's not going to be that few people there was when you went. So maybe when I went on Thursday, it was a breeze going up and down. Hey, no problem. But guess what? There wasn't many traffic in the hotel, right? But when I went Saturday, it was packed with people.
Other vendors too.
Yeah,
chairs,
exactly,
linens,
exactly,
other
exactly.
vendors coming in with other things,
Yeah.
food, caterers. There's a
So-
lot of wild cards you just don't know.
Yeah, so to me, you know, if I'm not doing anything in my house, you know, and I could go earlier, even earlier than 2 hours and a half, I'll go as early as I can. Because, you know, I would rather, but that's just me, I would rather be set up and resting in the back than hurrying up, connecting everything, you know, and it just doesn't, you're asking for trouble when you are right about that.
You don't get
that
in the
time.
right zone because of all that. If you cut it too close, you're kind of stressed. You're not relaxed, in control.
Exactly.
This space is mine. This crowd is mine. You got the right mindset. You looked at their list of music, the formalities. You know, you
Exactly.
get into the right mindset as opposed to cutting it too close. You're looking for trouble in that sense. You're taking yourself out of that zone that you should be in, especially in the beginning. All eyes on me. You got to kill it from the beginning. You got to win that crowd, and being in the zone helps a lot. So allow plenty of time for setup.
I would highly recommend that you take special attention to the beach. Anything in Miami Beach, always add at least in my situation, I always add at least 2 hours to anything that I'm doing on the beach. Why? First, it's always very difficult to get into the venues, because if the venue happens to be on Collins, or maybe on any of those major streets, you're always going to have a lot of traffic, a lot of going in and out, and parking. You know that they're famous for towing and giving you tickets. The last time I did an event there in December, it was at the Margaritaville. Mm-hmm. I got there with 3 hours. That was how early I was able to get there. And on my first trip, the elevator broke. So what I'm thinking inside the elevator with my son is, how long are they going to take to actually come and open this elevator and not make me be here late, even though I'm here, but I might be set up late because of what happened. What we decided to do is that it was on the 9th floor. We will come down the stairs with my hand truck and go up the elevator. come down the stairs with a hand truck and go up the elevator.
Wow.
Like that, because it was only one working elevator, we didn't have to wait until all the other vendors loaded all their stuff, and we would have risked the possibility of being late. Also, sometimes when you get there very early, there's one what I would call a monkey wrench. They might not have finished setting up the place, and your area where you're supposed to be set up might not be ready. But that's one risk. I'd rather take that risk and wait and maybe ask them if they don't mind setting up my area first and then I set up, than being together with the guy with the chairs, the guy with the tables, the guy with everything else, and be there and have the chance of being late. Okay? I'm going to go to question number 2. It's actually a question from one of our members. They wanted to know if using remixes at mobile events. Do you use remixes at your mobile events?
Yeah, actually I do sometimes, but I'll tell you the drawback to that. Sometimes when I use a remix, for instance, I use a lot of my intros. I have one intro that one event I was playing AC/DC. You Shook Me All Night Long. So my intro, if you listen to it,
it's good intro. I've used it.
It has an 8 beat with just the beat, and then it has a little effect that I did for the other 8 beats. And the guest was just turning around and saying like this, "What's up? When is he gonna come in?" So you gotta have the right crowd for it. I say.
That's where I started, too. I said the crowd demographics, how hip are the people in front of you? Most of the people, we're in the burgers and fries business as a mobile DJ. Hamburgers and French fries. Try to stay as close to the original as you can. In most situations, it varies, of course, if you have a hipper, cooler crowd. Yeah. The type of mobile gig, if you're doing some street party on South Beach or like in Wynwood, you could stretch out. Yeah. The people are a little more open-minded. But if it's like a wedding, which is the bread and butter of what most of us has, it's got to be mainstream recognizable.
That's why I like to keep my intros as close as possible to the original for that same reason. Because for mobile DJs, a lot of the guests that are out there dancing, they know, they hear it the radio all the time. They don't hear the remix. So, it's in at least in mobile field, I try to stay as close as possible to the originals. Because the times that I have played remixes of the songs at weddings or, those type of events, I've had few guests looking back at me like saying, okay, well, do you have the original of the track? So, for the right crowd, I've played parties that I've played a lot of my remixes and I haven't had no problem. So you really have to know who you're playing for. Mm-hmm. Once you know, who is it, who are the dancers out there, and you have a feeling that it might go over well, go ahead and do it. Now, me personally, I like to stick as close as possible to the original tracks, especially when I'm playing classics, especially when I'm playing salsa.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I like to be as close as possible to the original. That's why my intros, when you hear I'm going to plug myself. Is it okay, Willie?
That's okay.
That's why when you hear my intros, you'll hear 8 bar in, another 8 with a little effect, and then right into the song. Because that's, I use the intros for me. That's how I began doing it for my business.
Well, it also sounds good. If it's a single intro, it sounds good going in from the previous song. It's versus just the original single, which doesn't have any beats, no 8 bars, whatever. Intro, it's better transition with the intro beats.
Smoother.
But it's different than saying a remix, because there's all these crazy remixes of the hit songs out there, and they all have a different flavor. Many of them are really not appropriate for a mobile. Again, gets back to how hip and cool is the crowd, which in most gigs they're not that hip and cool.
If you're playing for a 15, young crowd, a lot of the young crowd, they love it. But whenever I'm playing for an older crowd, they want to hear the original track, especially if it's a salsa. You don't. That's why when I see DJ scratching into salsa, I scratch my head and I say, "What is he doing?" You know, you just don't do that. That's called taboo in the salsa world, guys. Never ever scratch a salsa record. That's called taboo in the salsa industry. You never do that.
You're right. You're right. I also keep in mind that our time, especially during weddings, our dancing time is very limited. Between introductions, dinner, toasts, dances, you probably barely have an hour and a half to 2 hours to actually jam the party. And if you play remixes that are very long, not only sometimes some remixes confuse the dancers. For example, I'm not going to mention any names or any brand, but there's a remix of a merengue that it starts with a very popular one piece of it in the beginning, but then it jumps to a different one. And I've seen guest faces going like they were waiting for the one that was running in the little little snippet.
Yes.
And then boom, you change it. They look at me like, bro, what did you change that?
Yeah.
It's not me.
I have a few of those, and I only played it one time, and that's
exactly. So definitely, be very careful, very cautious on how you handle all the different remixes.
If I could, one last thing is safe versus risky. In a club, you could be risky depending on the time of the night. And right close to 2 o'clock, you don't want to take a lot of chances. People look at their watch and let's go. You empty out the club if you do the wrong thing. But it's all the club, again, is a whole different animal. But in mobile, you could take a chance if you're feeling it, if you think it's going to go over good. But be reactive immediately. If it bombs, get into something else, like fade out. Because you do have to take chances sometimes. We can get a little bored playing the same thing over and over. But generally speaking, at a mobile gig, you're better off being safe versus risky of playing that new cool remix that came out.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, the club. What we're getting at here is mainly the mobile gigs. What I was saying is strictly for the mobile gigs. Exactly. You know, mobile gigs, clubs. You know, is a different animal. You know, I used to play at the Ren. I used to love it because the music that I played at the Ren, I would never ever imagine playing it at a mobile party because it wouldn't go over well. You know, so that's that. You know, it's a different animal. You know, clubs, they're more open to the remixes. You know, but at mobile events, you have to be picky. Where do you use them? So that's always saying.
I keep basing it on time. At the club, your time is infinite until you want to leave. So you can play with your songs longer. Even your mixes can be 8 bars. I mean, you can take longer in your mixes. Yeah. Normally, when we play our mobile events, we have to kind of mix fast because you want to get as many songs, as many popular songs in that hour and a half that you have to please the guest.
We could also get around that by fast forwarding in on those long remixes to about 1 minute and 30. You know, count whatever number of beats you have timed out to optimally mix the next song. There's, maximum effect, but that's a whole nother subject. Yeah. Roger Sanchez a long time ago.
That's for another program.
WMC talked about it. But you know what I'm talking about. You've got to strive for maximum effect in your mixing and programming. So
maybe, anyway. By the way, can I get a pen? So,
Freddy, anybody else want to say hello in the chat?
Oh, man, we have 24 people. God, we broke our record, man.
Thank you, guys.
Guys, please share the link, man.
Yeah. Did I help the ratings?
Yeah,
that's because of AJ.
Awesome.
Guys, please share the link. We want to hit as many DJs as we can. And, a lot of things that we talk about here, they might have questions and they're wondering what can they do. Hopefully we answered them here today. And also, if you have some questions, I'll try to get to as many as we can. If we can't answer it here, we'll answer it in the group or we'll answer it in the next broadcast.
We do have to say that we see a lot of views of this broadcast. Like after the fact, a lot of people are viewing this little transmission, which is great. But we would love it if you guys can be here live so you can, pose your questions. And we'll be more than glad to answer it to the best of our abilities.
Thanks again for having me, by the way. There's a lot of talented people that are watching right now that are equally talented and can be here, and they will be here, some of them in future broadcasts.
They will.
So I feel honored and flattered. Thanks again for having me, guys.
So
I appreciate
for coming.
it.
Next question. When should I use more than 2 speakers at an event and why? AJ, give me your...
Well, let's first of all eliminate the duh category, like cocktail hours, ceremony, duh.
Right.
Of course, you need a separate setup for that. So that out of the way, you can also briefly address subwoofers because that counts as more than 2 speakers.
Exactly.
Again, useful. It's always going to sound better. No ifs, ands about it. No doubt about it. It's always going to sound better with a sub. But sometimes a sub's a double-edged sword. In an outdoor party, it's the bass that carries and going to generate noise complaints or bleed through to the next wall in the ballroom. That's also going to get complaints because they're trying to do a toast and speech when you're jamming. So I had to briefly address subwoofers if we're going to talk about more than 2. Then, some of the final things are the size of the room. Larger rooms and a bigger guest count need fill monitors for reference. So do you have any thoughts on on the guest size and size of the ballroom, number of guests, and criteria? Because, like, say Jungle Island here is a big ballroom. If you're doing that big ballroom in there without the dividers, you would need some fill speakers for the sides.
I take to account, again, when the clients visit my website, I use DJ Intelligence. By the way, those of you who don't use DJ Intelligence, it's a very good application to use for your business. I use that, and I ask, what's the guest count going to be? So if I have a guest count of 75, 2 speakers will probably be good for 75, depending on the room, but size of the guests matters, and the size of the room, of course. We don't want to have 150 and, we have to fill up, a big ballroom. So those are 2 things to take into consideration. Also, going back to your subwoofer, it is a double-edged sword sometimes. But here's the thing: I'd rather have more. Okay, it would never hurt you to have more and then come down, than to not have enough and there's nothing you could do about it. So I'd rather, they tell me, hey, the bass is too loud, cut it down. I say, hey, no problem. I'll go back there. Like we had an event, a Rusty Pelican. Was it? No, it wasn't a Rusty. It was in the golf course, the golf course in Key Biscayne. We had someone with a pacemaker, and my subs at that time, thank God I had the Mackies. I didn't have the QSCs. But with the Mackies, he said that the bass of the subwoofers, was affecting his pacemaker. So you know what? I say, oh my God, imagine if something happens to that guy, Yeah. So I just went immediately and I cut the bass, But imagine if somebody comes and tells me, hey, the music is too loud, too low. I want it higher, and I'm already peaking. I can't do anything about it. I say, sorry, So me personally, I'd rather have more than I need than not have enough and nothing I could do about it.
And I would add, it's good to have a backup too. Like if you're just going to have 3, let's say without a sub, have your 2 powered speakers and have one like on reserve in case there's an issue for whatever reason. One of the speakers starts acting up.
Right.
You just pop on another one right there, but that you had in reserve.
In my case, I take my QSCs and then I also have a Mackie that I use as a monitor, and that serves as my backup speaker. What are the odds that both of them are going to go out at the same time? I haven't, and plus that's why I upgrade my speakers as most as I can. Well, hopefully the wife is not listening to me, but
she's got the.
I try to. My speakers are pretty. My speakers are pretty new, so what are the odds of them going down at the same time? Not highly likely. And also, I have my monitor. Something happens, which I did one time, and I just turned my monitor that way, and I played with my monitor on. That's it.
Yeah, always keep in mind that the main focus of your loud, good sounding music is really geared towards the dance floor. People around the dance floor, people on their tables, they just want to be having a conversation. Normally, when you're too loud, they're going to complain. So, all these points that were mentioned just now are very valid, but always don't never forget that your main focus is the dance floor. Okay, if you're having some kind of, a lot of speeches, and this is a very large room, like for example, the Double Tree on 72nd near 836, that one is it's a very long room. I would recommend having side fields so people on the, down the way can listen to what is being said over the mic. But definitely always keep in mind your dance floor. That's your main focus.
Ray Hernandez says, the more boom, the better.
Yes, sir.
Bring
That's
the
me.
boom.
I love having my subs. I'm sorry. I love
doubt,
bringing my
no
subs,
doubt.
and I feel the difference. Even you know that music really gets to people through vibration. So if they can feel it, they're gonna dance because it makes them move. So, I mean, whenever I can use them, I'm gonna have them. And sometimes I bring them, and if I have to turn one off, I'll do it. But I always like to have my subs. Sorry, man.
Quote the Jungle Brothers. Feel the vibe. Feel the bass.
Yes,
Come
sir.
on.
Keep it along. Next question: how to be prepared for emergencies, Serato or other software glitches, power or cable failure during a gig? Well, in my
You want
case,
to take that?
in my case,
you're the equipment guy around here. You have all those nice toys.
yeah, and I keep buying more equipment.
I don't know.
God,
I don't know what you tell your wife, man. You got to teach
she
me a
doesn't
few of the
know.
tricks.
I just bring him at night. She goes to bed early. I just sneak him in at night. She won't see them. And with my van, she doesn't know. I keep him in the van for a few days.
Oh, that's a
and then I
trick.
sneak him in. Smart. Listen, in my case, I keep my iPad. I have an iPad Pro, and I use a software called DJ. It's called DJ, right? That's the software that we use. DJ. You can, and I keep a short playlist in there, and I can also use maybe Spotify. Oh, did I say it? Okay.
That's legal issues
Oops,
there.
my bad. Anyway, thank God I've never needed it. I've had it. It's always there on standby. And I also have 2 laptops that I carry with me. Did I need them? No. I've never had a laptop fail on me, thank God. But I keep up to date with my equipment. This is my money maker. And I don't want to be in a situation where I mess up somebody's first dance or maybe a quince and they're having the father-daughter dance, one of those jam, and my computer freezes or something like that. So I put my money where it's needed in my sound, my computer. Since I love using my computer, I know some people are against using a laptop. I don't think I'm ever going to get rid of my laptop. I just love it. And that's just the way I feel. And I don't know what it will give me.
You know, me personally, I'm terrified of the music, losing music. You know, I try to have as many things as I can connected to another channel. I use, since I said if you guys could see this right here, this little mixing board, it allows me to connect as many devices as I can. I try to have as many as I can. I even, nowadays, guys, you could even have your phone connected to it. So anything happens, you could just, on a click, you have music coming out.
And don't let them see you sweat it. Transition. Have that ready to go. Don't be scrambling. Oh, let me hook that up. No. Have it when you first set up. Have your alternate music source ready to go. And have it with a banger ready to go or a can't miss song for that crowd. Because it's not a question of if, but when. Sooner or later, there's going to be a glitch. It's going to freeze. It's going to do something you don't want it to do. You've been lucky.
And always
have it ready.
Freddy's mix is there. You want to have a mix.
There you go.
That's going to give you time to reboot or go get a backup.
There's so many options. If you need a little CD player, get a CD player. I think Willy has one.
Yeah.
A CD player with CDs, with music inside the CD. Sometimes what has happened to me, I leave a song in that playing, like AJ says, a club banger inside the CD, and then I remember, I already played that, so let me change it to the next track. So also keep that in mind. If you already played that song, you got to change the song that you have ready to hit play, because it's got to be something that you just click play and it comes out
seamlessly. Maybe a couple of seconds delay. You're not scrambling around.
Seamlessly is going to be kind of hard.
Yeah, but
remember,
as seamless
you're
as
going to be
possible.
probably
You don't want to
jamming, and it's going to stop.
But don't let it get to you. It's going to stop, but don't let it get to you. Imagine the pro athletes when they drop a pass or something. You don't see them sweat it usually. They're just like normal.
But here's the thing.
Boom. And it's a banger. Make sure it's better than the song that locked up or froze. It's a banger. Leave it something that can't miss for that crowd that you haven't played yet. So if it freezes, boom.
We're all human. We all make mistakes. Me, I created many mistakes.
Okay,
we learn from our mistakes. Oh, my wife says, "Watch out! You're gonna knock over the walls." So we learn from our mistakes. It's not a matter of when it goes out, because most probably, a lot of us, it's a matter of how fast do you get your music up there?
Yeah.
How fast? If it goes out,
Seconds.
how fast does it get it for you to turn music back on?
There's one thing that happens to me all the time at every wedding. Since I wear my suit, my tuxedo, always my sleeve moves the fader to the left or to the right. Always. It doesn't miss. Every event, I have to, the minute the dancing starts, I got to take off my jacket because my sleeve hits the crossfader. Yep. So I know it already, so I immediately go back because I'm used to it.
Right. So, the more programs you have available to you, so if the music does go down, you just hit play, do it. I mean, the police is not going to come knocking and arrest you because you play one song from, who knows where, but try to be ready for those instances. Something happens to you, have a backup ready, a CD, your iPod, your phone, wherever it is, have it ready. One of my mixes, one of his mixes,
and practice that connection before you start the gig as part of your sound check. See my backup ready, getting audio out of both channels, perfect.
Here's the thing, always have a pre-made mix available to you. If you need to mix it, make it. I create mixes all the time. I have it on, and with no drops. Okay, I do that for DJs to use it. You could use it. Just don't take credit for my mixes, but you could use it. If your music goes down, you have an hour of top 40 new music that I just created. Do it from, if you have any mixes, have a pre-mix available that'll give you 15 minutes to fix your issue, 20 minutes. Okay, so let's move on to our next question because we're running on the 30th mark.
That's correct. Okay, next question. What precautions should you take during and after an outdoor beach wedding? I'm also want to add, because I do a lot of top-off parties where I go to construction sites, and these are filled with, obviously, that white dust. I don't know how you call that.
Sand?
Not sand.
Like from the cement.
The cement.
Yeah.
So,
cement.
AJ, tell me, what's your take on that?
Well, my first thing is I always try to make sure I'm under some type of cover because anything you buy electronic, whether it's consumer electronics or DJ, is going to say, do not expose to direct sunlight, do not expose to moisture.
Yes.
So I'm real anal about that. I do not want my stuff getting direct sunlight. I do not want it getting moisture. Now, if it's out on the beach and they didn't have a tiki hut or cover for you, I sort of improvise. Early in the setup, I'll throw like a white tablecloth on it so it reflects the sunlight. It's not beating down directly on your equipment until it's absolutely necessary to remove that cover because the sunlight's not good on the equipment.
No, definitely not.
It can lead to bad things, and even on the speakers possibly. So
not only at the beach, but here in South Florida, we have a lot of sun. We enjoy the sun. We don't know what snow is, right, Willie? You went to Canada
this year.
You went to Canada, but our sun, it beats. And I do a lot of wedding at the beach also. But the one that I really, really remember was the carnival that I played in Calle Ocho. I was on a float, and the sun was constantly hitting. Wow. My equipment, at that time I was using 4 Mackeys. My Mackeys was so hot that my wife, who doesn't cook, could have cooked on those Mackeys. That's how hot that got.
It's a little ghetto, but I put clip-on fans on the back of the Mackeys because they don't hold up well in outside hot days.
It got so hot that I couldn't put my hands on my mixer. That's how hot it got. So definitely the sunlight, the sun would affect the glare. What do you do for your glare?
Okay, for the glare.
Willie taught me something for the glare.
Yes, for the glare, under accessibility inside your Mac, I enable what is called invert colors. So whatever is, I turn everything to black and white. Whatever is supposed to be black will turn white, and then you are able to see with no problem in direct sunlight. Mm-hmm. The only problem with the sun is that, in my case, it has heated up my laptop so much that it has turned off. Oh, wow. So you don't want to be under direct sunlight no matter what. Yeah. But that little trick with the, like I said, under accessibility, under your Mac's preferences, it'll allow you to actually see clearly with direct sunlight by inverting the colors. I can show it to you guys in maybe another broadcast, but it works perfectly.
Yes. Frank Big Daddy, what's up, Big Daddy? He also said, talking about backups, that he keeps a backup power adapter for the Mac. That's very important too.
I do have one. I have one in my backpack and one on every one of my setups already permanent installed. Like right here, I have 2 right now.
Yes.
I have plenty of and those go out.
Yeah.
That is true.
And also Bill said, in reference to the beach wedding, to take a lot of suntan lotion.
I don't need it. I'm naturally tan already.
Beach umbrella's not a bad idea.
I actually had a gig this weekend on the beach, and what I did, because what really bothers me is having to clean every piece of wire. Sand has the power, the ability to get everywhere. So what I did is I took, under my table, I placed a hefty bag. So my cables literally landed, seated on top of this bag, and only a few feet were actually sitting on the sand. And then when I get home, of course, I have to spend at least an hour and a half cleaning my wires. Oh, by the way, at the end of the gig, I grabbed all those cables and put them in the same hefty bag all together. Took them to my van, collected the rest of my equipment, and when I got home, I pulled that bag out, took as much sand as I could, and wiped each cable individually until I got rid of all the sand.
Yes, sir. Yeah. They also said they will take a tent to the beach. The thing is, how about if it's windy, guys? You know, what are you going to do? I mean, you know, and also the tents. A lot of clients, they don't want those blue tents to go to
because they don't match. They don't match.
You know, they don't match.
White,
so,
maybe.
You know, I really would again, if it's okay with your client, you talk with your client. But me, really, I don't want that liability, because if that tent flies, and believe me, when there's wind, it'll fly. If it flies and it hits somebody, you better have good insurance, because they're gonna come back to haunt you. And also remember, when you the more you work at the beach, the more you have to wipe your equipment. Every Sunday or Monday, take a rag, wipe it down.
Dust the controller too, a little
overall,
brush.
Dust it, because sand gets in there. So that's something else also to keep in mind.
Yes.
I would say one other thing regarding the weather. Check the apps. The app doesn't lie. It shows a big blob moving this way. Guess what?
Yes.
You're going to get a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Show them. Show the planner. Show the people. Make sure you know in advance what's the plan B if it rains. Oh, no, well, it's not going to rain. Look, it's better to have a plan B. I'm just saying.
Once they say it's not going to rain, guaranteed it's going to rain.
Whether it's an outdoor or beach event. So check your apps. Get there early. The app doesn't lie. Show the planner, the coordinator, the bride, whatever. Sometimes they'll still insist. Oh, no, we want to it's not going to rain. Looks like it's going the other way. But then have cover to throw on it handy. You don't have to be scrambling around for whatever you're going to use. A tarp, garbage bags, whatever it is. Have it handy, because the weather app doesn't lie.
That is true. Moving along, fellas. Next question. How many of you mobile DJs ever reach out to your clients for feedback or survey them after the event to make sure that they were happy and satisfied with your services? Is this a good idea? And I also want to add to that one, especially those of you or us that subcontract other DJs to do events for you. Mm-hmm. AJ, what's your take on that one?
Why did you have to mention me first?
I don't know, man.
It's always a great idea, to email your client, let them know, hey, it was a pleasure working with you. I really enjoy your event. How did I do? Or how did my DJ do?
How soon after the event?
You want feedback. Everybody wants feedback.
How soon?
Exactly.
2 weeks after?
Listen, the day that when I send one of you guys to the events, I will constantly on Sunday send an email. If they don't reply, maybe a day or 2 days later, I might reply. Send them another email.
That's soon, like in a day or two. You don't wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, because you don't want them to.
You want it fresh.
You want them, as fresh as the things that they have in their mind. You want to know about.
But I would guarantee you that if they have a complaint, first thing at 8 in the morning on Sunday,
they'll complain.
I'm gonna get that phone call, or if not, the same night.
Definitely.
That's unfortunately true. I've had it happen at restaurants where I had a good experience, and I go find the manager and say, hey, the waitress was awesome, the food was awesome, the service, everything was great, the atmosphere. And I've had people tell me, it happened in Pembroke Pines last time at a restaurant. You're the first person in 2 years that's come up to tell me that everything was great. So, even in your own personal lives, just thank the people that give you good service, and hopefully it'll come around to us. But they're not as likely to give you praise as they are a complaint, unfortunately. But then, how many times do you follow up with them?
I send them 2 emails. If they don't reply me by the second email, then I stop, because maybe they're like me, that when AT&T sends me, how did I do? I just click cancel.
but how about they were on their honeymoon and maybe didn't want to be bothered with that? Maybe wait a little longer.
Maybe I'll send them on Sunday, the day after the event, and then I'll probably send them Tuesday again. After the second time, if they don't reply to me, then I'll just drop it. I'll send them a link to my website where the testimonial is. I'll email them the link. If they reply, fine. If they don't reply, you can't force people to give you feedback. And most of the time, if they really, really enjoyed your party, a lot of times I wake up in the morning and bing, and I hear a text, and it's the client saying, "Oh my God, fantastic party," and all that. Now that's a good part. Now, how about the bad part? When people get on there and and it's completely lie, and they go to these websites and they say, "Oh, because something happened." That testimonials can be great for you, but they also can be a double-edged sword bad for you, because how are you going to prove to these websites? It's really a hassle. I see nightmares on the internet of DJs saying, "Hey, this is a lie. This is a lie," and you have to prove that it's a lie to the company for them to take that out of there. And it's not that easy. I've seen nightmare stories of DJs having a real tough time trying to get that bad review, which wasn't true, on a website removed. Yeah. So it helps us a lot. I mean, I want as many reviews as I can. I actually got away from that a little. I gotta get back in it again. But I always want to have feedback from my clients. I want to know. I don't only want to know what they liked. I know what they like, because if you see them dancing, they're liking your song. But more importantly, I tell my client, what didn't you like that I did? Because a lot of times we do things and we don't realize that we're doing something that's not appropriate, or maybe that they didn't like. But they're embarrassed to tell us for some reason, because we rock the party. But I tell them, hey, no problem. Tell me what you liked, and I want to know also if I did something that you didn't like, or that you were bothered by something that I did. Also, that's important, because you know what? When you do things that maybe this client didn't like, you realize it. Maybe it's something with your hand that you don't realize that you're doing. Like Felix likes to do a lot of this.
Watch what you do with your hands.
You see Felix, he used to play baseball. He does a lot of this.
Or being on your phone all the time.
So,
third base coach.
Making videos of
exactly. So
Eddie Meneses.
for social media.
Sometimes you don't realize the things that you're doing until someone tells you, hey, you did this. And then so that's important also. Not only tell them what they liked, but if you did something that they didn't like, or they were bothered by it. Also, so that way you don't do it in the future.
You briefly mentioned subcontractors, and I think, again, the tendency is going to be, hey, Joe Blow complained about you and said you didn't play the right music, or you didn't play their request, instead of, like, they're not as likely to tell you, you rocked it. I got a compliment about your services. You were great. They loved you. They said you played all the right music. You killed it on the announcements. You took good care of them, whatever it is. And they're not as likely to tell you that if you're a subcontractor. They're just going to tell you if you messed up. So it's the same tendency to want to accentuate the negative instead of the positive, and give you good reviews and stuff like that.
Let's move on to the next one. We have a few more minutes left.
The next question.
Guys, I want to thank you. All you guys tuning in, members of DPR, thank you. Serato 101, we want to send a shout out to all those guys too. Thank you for tuning in, guys. We really appreciate it. Please share our videos. If you missed today's broadcast, the beginning, you could also, tomorrow I'll post it on the DPR website. So make sure that you go to the website, DJs, producers, and remixers.com. We have a link called DPR Television. Yeah, because we're movie stars now.
Yeah.
So
It's set up like a movie.
Hello,
studio.
diga el
Those of you
público.
future
Yeah.
guests that are going to come here and sit in this seat, you'll see.
So
it.
make
See
sure
those
you check it out
TV
tomorrow,
station.
the beginning of that. So we have 2 more questions, and then we're gonna move on to a short presentation of how to use smart crates in Serato DJ. Okay, a lot of the DJs don't know it, but it's a very, very cool feature. If you don't know how to do it, Willy is gonna do a short 10-minute demonstration on it.
Yes, sir. The following question kind of relates to the previous one. Drinking at gigs, basically drinking alcohol at gigs. I'm going to give you my take. I don't like to drink at gigs. 2 reasons. To me, the first one, DUI. If I get a DUI, Willy can't DJ no more because I'm not going to hire a driver for me.
Heck, you can't drive down here to do the shows anymore.
Exactly.
Right?
Second, you need to be focused on what you're doing. You're there to do a job. I know that this is going to be a subject that's going to rub not too well with some people that enjoy really drinking, but I don't think as a DJ you're being hired to do a job. I like to drink a Coke, and that's it, man. I drink at my house. I drink with my buddies. I drink at the picnic next Sunday.
Yes.
There I drink.
We want to see you all there.
But
Tom.
I don't like drinking at gigs. That's just the way I feel.
Yeah.
AJ.
I got my views on that. First, you got to separate club versus mobile.
Exactly.
In
We're
a club,
talking
it kind of
strictly
comes
mobile.
with the
This is
territory.
mobile.
People are going to bring you
This is-
shots.
this
and
is
like,
This is mobile.
Club is
so
another
let's
different
forget
animal.
about clubs completely. Let's only talk about mobiles. I occasionally have a beverage. It depends on some parameters. How cool is the client towards you? House party to versus like a party in a ballroom.
Exactly.
How cool is the client? How relaxed do they seem? How
By the way,
you know.
Signature Grand does not serve liquor to vendors.
Exactly.
It's
Yes, they do.
prohibited.
Oh, there's other venues. That was my next
Yes.
point. The venue that you're in, you got to feel that out. And there's some that like, no way, no how, no way.
Nothing.
As much as you're tempted,
And
I
there's
would not.
a
I
reason for
wouldn't
that,
do it.
guys. There's a reason for that because a lot of DJs, they drink and
They
they
messed it up.
they cause havoc, right? I mean, it goes
Liability against the
Exactly.
venue. They serve there's a thing called responsible vendors. Those of you that have worked in bars and clubs may know about it. It's a responsible vendor program that they have to put the staff through on how to recognize intoxicated patrons or
Right.
vendors, not just intoxicated, but under other substances too, Molly, whatever else.
To me, it's kind of embarrassing to be up there and being intoxicated. I've, not mentioning anybody. I've been in events that I can tell that the DJ had one too many, and you could tell by the things that he was doing that he wasn't all up there. So, to me, if I'm at an event and it's maybe a family member of mine or friend, that's about the only time I'm gonna have beverage. Other than that, it's water and Coke. That's it. Maybe if a client comes up to me and says, "Hey, Freddy, here, oh, you want something to drink? Yeah, let me have a Coke." He comes and brings me a rum and Coke. Maybe I'll take a sip or two of it, right? But you know what? If it's gonna impact the way that you perform, don't drink.
It
Don't drink
could
at
could
all.
impact the way you perform favorably too, and I'm not some kind of lush, and whoever is possibly thinking some point of booking me gonna write me off because of this. That's okay because I know my limits. I worked in clubs a long time. I always have a water. Cut the buzz by eating. Drink responsibly. The rate of your consumption. You're not gonna pound back 3 shots. You know what I mean?
Listen, we're not gonna
Slow.
be.
Sometimes it helps you relax a little bit. Be more in touch with what the crowd's doing. But after you've taken care of all the important
We're
business,
not gonna be-
when I drink, it's after everything important's been done. If it's a mobile, after the bridal party introductions, of course, after the garde bouquet, all that. Maybe
Yeah.
near the end, sometimes when I
Yeah.
drink at a mobile.
If it,
and
if it's gonna impact the way that you perform, don't do it, guys. You're there to do a job. We wouldn't be in this business for so long if we drink. I mean, who's gonna hire us? So, to me personally, I don't drink alcohol when I'm working.
and I see
And
both sides of the coin again.
especially
Out of way.
when I'm representing somebody. When I'm representing somebody,
Exactly.
no, I don't drink.
And there's
You know, that's
always
the way it
somebody
is.
looking at you.
Exactly.
There's no way. It might be the father, might be a guest.
Some people are cool about
There's
it, though. Like
always
you
gonna
could
be
relax
looking
a
at
little
you.
bit sometimes.
Right.
That's my
Now-
philosophy. You got to know the judgment call on the venue you're at, their policy, the people that hired you, etc. So, you
Okay,
know,
this will be the last question before my short presentation. As a DJ, is it easier to perform at a small wedding, let's say 50, 75 guests, or at a larger one, 300 plus? My opinion, to me, wedding small or big, it takes the same work for me. I think the size of the guest is just how much more equipment I have to bring. Other than that, I'm going to do my same presentation. I'm going to do the same type of, I'm going to take care of the wedding, even if it's 5 people,
Exactly.
because I'm hired to entertain for your best, maybe your best, your only, the most meaningful day in your life, aside from having your child, is when you get married. So I'm going to perform whether it's for 50 people, whether it's for 100 or for 500, the same way.
I think this was part of the our group. In the group, they had this question. I forgot who was the member who asked it. I think he was referring to. He was having a harder time maintaining the people, since there are less people, maintaining them in the dance floor than it is for 300 people. Because 300 people, maybe you have about 100, 150, 25 people in the dance floor. Out of 300, hopefully more, of course. But I see what he was getting onto. Okay, he was having a harder time maintaining the people dancing. Listen, guys, not all the parties, all the guests are there to dance. A lot of times there are parties, you're going to see them stomping their feet, or while they're sitting down in the chair say, oh, I remember that song. Not all the parties are dancing parties. We feel bad because, we want to see a full dance floor all the time. But in a perfect world, yes. But it's not going to happen all the time. There are going to be events. I've played at events, of parties, for 50 or 55 people, that there's only 2 or 3 people on the dance floor dancing. The rest over there. And at the end of the night, I was impressed because a client came to me and says, oh, my God, you did an amazing job. I said, really? There was only, it wasn't so many people. No, you don't understand. We're not a dancing crowd. We're not a dancing family. But we enjoy listening to music, and you did a hell of a job. So that right there told me, you know what? Not all the parties are dancing parties.
You're correct.
But yes, I understand. It's a little bit tougher to maintaining a small wedding, the people to dance, especially if they're not dancers, than it is the 300 people, to make 100 people dance is going to be a lot easier, even though you're playing the same style of music. Because, in mobile events, I mean, we really have, I take 4 gigs. I really don't need 4 gigs. I'm pretty sure I could do, the majority of my events with 10 gigs of music, maybe 5 gigs of music, maybe, because we're constantly playing more or less the same songs.
Yeah.
So, but not all the events are the same. Not all the guests are going to dance to, and I've played some parties, 30 people, that they never sat down. It's just like that. Not all the events are going to be the same. So don't feel bad if you have a small crowd and only a few people were dancing. Maybe they weren't the dancing crowd. This goes back to getting feedback from your client. Hey, how did I do? Did you like everything? And then I was impressed when the client came after me after the party and said, "Oh man, hell of a job." I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, hell of a job."
Well, I would say the intimate feeling of a smaller guest count, there's a certain warmth to that. You could connect more individually with the guests, and it tends to be a little more like a homogenous guest mix as opposed to diverse. If you have 300 people, like in some of these holiday parties we do, man, you got taste all over the place. So that's something to consider, that the diversity of the mix of all the guests that are there is going to affect the music mix. And then there's also more moving parts, vendors, things going on. You have to adapt quicker, catch those curveballs when they come.
Yes.
There's another baseball reference, Eddie. He said something about baseball reference. So you got to catch those curveballs at an event like that. Things are coming at you fast. Corporate events, same thing.
Yeah.
So
yes, definitely, it's a lot tougher to maintain a smaller wedding, with a lot fewer guests, everybody in the dance floor, because imagine 50 guests. Maybe not all of them dance. They just want to be there because, you know, they want to spend time with their family. So maybe out of those 50 guests, maybe 15 are there to dance.
Yeah.
You know, maybe 20, you know, hopefully everybody. But, you know, don't feel bad. Not all the events are dancing events.
I would say one last point, if I can,
Yes.
that the jitters of having 300 people, all eyes on me, they're all watching you. There's a little more pressure than if you got 50 to 75. So
Yes.
how you handle that, how you cope with
Exactly.
that.
That
Again,
goes-
arriving early, the mindset,
Right.
rehearse in your mind, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to play, you know.
That goes back to one of our first videos. I think we covered that, right? Talking on the mic, how we got over our butterflies.
Exactly.
300 is a lot more intimidating.
So
man,
make sure
than
you see
75.
the videos. We have 2 videos. This is our 3rd videos. You could go to DJs, producers, and remixers.com. And on that page, look for the DPR television. On there, we have all the other videos.
Did you say the 3rd video? And this is the
This-
first time you had
this
a
is the
you had
third
a
video.
You had a
Yes.
threesome the first time.
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
three
this is the third
guests.
video.
The other times
So,
you have just
exactly,
2. That's
exactly.
funny.
So now we're gonna go over to Mr. Willy. He has a small presentation for you guys. I'm gonna run over and grab that camera and bring it back so you guys can see the screen.
And I'm going to get a glass
Okay?
of water, not a drink.
Wow.
But maybe I should have one.
So
We're
give
not
us
at an event.
30 seconds and we'll be right back.
Okay, well, Freddy goes and gets the camera. I'm going to just briefly explain what smart crates really are. I know that most of you have not, I mean, some of you have not, most of you have used iTunes. And iTunes have their smart playlist, which is basically a playlist that follows criterias that you enter yourself into a particular field in your library. I mean, on the song. In Serato, they mimic pretty much the same, maybe with a little less options, but it's still good enough for you to actually use it. I'm going to show you pretty quick. Okay, as you can see, this is one of my laptops with an empty library. All you're going to do in this case, I'm going to show you. I got a little bit of music here to use it as a sample for this presentation today right now. Hold on, let me find my music. Where is it? It's on my desktop. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm going to add basically just a group of songs. I'm going to throw it into my all audio. As you can see, each one of the songs have, you know, song name, artist, album, BPM, and genre. Now, if I want to get, if I want to have a crate that is going to sort these songs by genre, what I do, I will open a smart crate, which will be one of these blue ones right here, and it'll open this selection window. I'm going to add my first rule. In this case, I'm going to select that the genre contains the word rock. Now, when I save it, if you click on the actual smart crate, everything that had the word rock in it is going to show under this list. So I would name it as, this will be my rock list, or my rock playlist. Let's say I want to have another smart playlist that every time I add a song that has, let's say, the genre merengue. In this case, I'm going to pick again genre contains merengue. I'm going to type the word merengue. Merengue. You hit save. When you click on this crate, the new one that I just built, if I don't have anything that says merengue, it's not going to show up. I'm going to go back to all my music, and if I look in here, see, I didn't include anything that has merengue, but I do have some songs that are bachata. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to edit the smart playlist, and I'm going to type the word, contains the word bacha. Even you can just put a partial part of the name, and it'll collect everything that is under that name. Now, the way I manage my library, when I get new music, I forgot to, let me just rename this guy to bachata, so I know what is it, what kind of crate it is. When I get my new music and I add it to my collection, I would do a temporary crate. For example, let's say I'm going to grab new music from here, new music. This folder, I will throw it in here. And then that folder is going to have different type of genres. You see, it has alternative rock, it has bachatas, it has cubatón, dance club, and reggaeton. Let's say this was top 40 music. I would create here a folder that I call radio, right? That means that everything that's going to land in here is what's playing on the radio right now. So I create my first smart playlist. I'm going to call it. Oh, before I do this, let me go over one thing. My buddy Eduardo Suarez introduced what he called the hashtag when we were discussing a playlist or music library. You can decide which field of your library you want to use to call your songs through that hashtag. In this case, I like to use grouping. Since I'm going to assume that all these songs are on the radio right now, I'm gonna click on the first song grouping, and I'm gonna go hashtag the word radio, right? Now, since all of those are new songs, like I said before, they're radio, I'm gonna select them all and put the same hashtag in them, which is hashtag radio. I'm gonna come and create a playlist. Let's say I want to get all the radio stuff. I'm gonna go add a rule. I'm gonna find the field grouping, and I'm gonna say contains, or I can say is. Is means that it has to have the exact word, and contains, it can have just part of it. It'll still find it for you. I will come here and go hashtag radio. Now, when I save it, everything that says radio is gonna be on that playlist. The beauty of this is that I can get any amount of music with any type of genre, any type of denomination here that on the grouping. I can name it whatever I want, and I don't have to ever touch my crates again because they're already preset to find those songs. Now I'm going to show you my actual DJ laptop that I use to DJ and how I have my library. Here you see I have, for example, 80s and 90s hip hop. I call it peak, which was an idea by my boy, DJ Professor Mike, who showed me this. And every song that I have here is a jam. It's a song that is going to bang the dance floor. So as you can see, if you look on grouping, I'm going to show you that I have all these songs have the same hashtag that I mentioned before. You see, I call them hashtag 80 hip hop jam. That means that to me, a jam is a song that whenever I play it, people are going to go crazy. So you see, every time I get new versions that I think sound good or have a good sound to it, I add that hashtag, and they're all going to land in the same place. Let's say I have an 80s party this weekend. I'll do a regular playlist, but I can go and find my smart playlist, and I choose from there. Because everything that is there is what I call crema. It's songs that I know are going to bang. So I like to use this, for example. If the gig is only until midnight, around 11:30, I'm going to destroy the dance floor with all these jams, which just might get me some overtime. Not that I'm doing it on purpose, but if I can jam the floor close to the end, not that I wasn't jamming before, but I keep my aces under my sleeve. All these good songs, I have them already categorized and separated. So I have my 80s, my 90s, my bachata, my merengue. Everything has already a hashtag. So my entire playlist is based on smart crates. All I have to do is add my hashtag, and they all land in the right spot, and I don't have to be looking or creating playlists continuously because they already land in the right spot. If anybody needs any more, maybe any more explanation, any more clarification about this, please hit us up on a text. You can pose a question, or maybe under the group on the DPR, and I'll be more than glad and more than happy to get together with you guys and go over it if you will need a little more thorough explanation. I swear by it, man.
That's going to be one of our workshops, our next workshops. By the way, we're planning another workshop soon. So hopefully we want to get a lot of DJs in that workshop, right?
Yes.
We wanna really rock that. So we're trying to get it together, and it's gonna be great.
And so you guys know too. I had told Freddy that I would like to have on every one of these broadcasts some technical aspect of what we do. I mean, even if it's just a controller, how to do effects, how to do a transition, how to do things that have to do with the instruments that we use to perform better out there. Yeah. So this was just the beginning of I would say a first try.
Yes.
And I hope that I can help, that I help somebody with this. Just one person. If I help one person, I'm glad. I'm happy.
It's great. Any questions you have for Willy, let him know. He'll assist you with that. You know, we could even do it remotely. We could use TeamViewer, and we could log into your Mac, and we could show you a little demonstration of this. Yeah. All right. So, guys, I think that does our hour. That's our hour, guys. I hope what we covered today will help anybody out there. If you have questions, I know we probably had a few questions that we didn't get to, but we promise we'll get to in the next broadcast, which will be a few months ahead. We're running into summertime. We're going to be on vacations a lot, so hopefully we covered a few of the questions that you had. You learned a few things. If you did learn a few things, we did our job. Let us know. Comment below this video how we did. If you like it, if you something you didn't like, PM us, man, so we know. I want to thank AJ Falcon for taking the time and joining us. I want to thank my wife. I want to thank all the members. I want to thank all the people in Serato 101. Thank you for joining us. All the members that were on live. Thank you guys. Because of you guys, it motivates us to do more of this. So thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed it.
See you guys Sunday.
On behalf of AJ.
Please, Sunday, guys.
Yes.
We're bringing food. We want to see you guys there. We love to spend
Sunday
some time.
At 12 p.m., the flyer is on our website, DJs, producers, and remixers.com. Look for the flyer. This Sunday, 12 o'clock, you could bring your family, bring food, bring whatever you want to drink. We're going to be there. We can't play loud. We're going to have a speaker, but we can't play really loud music there. So, it's just time to get together. So, all our wives, all our family can be together. We get to know each other, and it's fun. Maybe you'll be able to beat me in dominoes. Who knows? I doubt it, but maybe you will. Who knows? So it's going to be fun for the family. We get together. We network. We share our ideas and how we can make this program better. Again, thank you guys for joining us. We hope it was the best, better than the one prior. But, thank you for joining us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And like always, we do it from the bottom of our heart.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Good night.
We're out.